Hello, World History. This is day 27. This is 27C, and this will be our last lecture for today. So Alexander the Great lives from 356 to 323 years before Christ. He is Macedonian, which is actually the region located north of Greece. He himself is not actually Greek, which is kind of interesting, but he's fascinated with Greek culture, and he wants to take Greek culture all over the world, and he pretty much does by the time he dies from malaria at 32. So his father, Philip II, was a conqueror, and there's his historical lore legacy that Philip would come home from these conquests and he would say what he had just conquered. Oh, I just got Egypt this time. I just got part of India, although Alexander's going to get part of India. But anyway, then Alexander would say, "Oh, Dad, leave something for me to conquer," and he'd kind of cry. And there was plenty for him to conquer. Basically, Philip had only really gotten Greece and begun to go after Persia. Alexander finishes with Persia, walks into Egypt, and gets part of India. Really subjugates the known world at the time, and he loves to learn where he goes. He really respects the other cultures when he gets there. So actually, he kind of assimilates and takes on. Alexandria, Egypt is named after him. So he's given glory where he goes, and he also takes learning from where he goes as well. And he's Aristotle's student. So this is an important phrase for you to know. So make sure you have it in your notebook, underline it, highlight it. Hellenistic culture refers to Greek culture. Hellenistic culture is another way of saying Greek culture. Talks about the spread of Greek culture. And that has to do somewhat with like the goddess Helen, the historical Queen Helen, etc. So after the conquest of Alexander the Great, even as the Roman Empire is going to emerge and grow and be the next big thing, still Greek culture is going to be a big deal, even in the Roman world. The Greek language is the most common universal language in the world during the time of Jesus. That's 300 years later. So you still have these Hellenistic influences. So long after Greece is a military power, it is a cultural powerhouse, and you could still say it is even today. There may be people in this class who will study Greek because it's the original language of the New Testament. Is probably why you'll study it. Still influencing today. Definition of knowledge. Write this down. As I'm filming this, it's raining really torrentially. I don't know if you can hear that. I love that sound. So here are two different definitions for knowledge, and I want you to write these down. One is more the Platonian definition for knowledge, or Plato's definition for knowledge. The other one is the Aristotelian definition for knowledge, Aristotle's definition of knowledge. So Plato's is that knowledge is why things are, or knowing why things are. And these are things that we can show through equations because they kind of represent reality, like math class, and things that are forever, like the soul. We can't see that. Motivation, it's important, but you can't see it. Our character, we can't necessarily see your character, but you can see the results of a person's character. Okay, so that's Plato's definition. These are important to distinguish between these. Aristotle's definition of knowledge is what things are, or knowing what things are. And this is based on what they're made out of, like biology. What are the physical properties that make this up? If it's living, it's biology, if it's mechanical, it could be something else. And what do these things do? And this could be, do they do good? Do they do bad? Their ethical system. And things that we can show by experiment. So Plato would be your math teacher. Aristotle would be your science teacher. And perhaps you're more comfortable in one of those arenas than the other. You can see that neither of them are bad. They're ways of knowing. You can pause this if you need to write this down. I'm going to go to the next slide. So Aristotle assumes that all of our knowledge comes from the observable. Basically, he's like, I need to see it to believe it, is Aristotle. He's like, if I don't see it, it doesn't matter to me. The observable is our first and most important point of reference for Aristotle. Aristotle, the observable world may be difficult to understand, but it is the basis or beginning of our knowledge. And to a certain extent, Aristotle's right. Like, we are made to be living beings that learn material in this material world. That's how God made us. But there is also, like Transformer says, there's more than meets the eye as well. There's a forever part of us, as we're aging physically all the time.